the wheeled meals.
You're just everybody. You can do that. What the big
Actually, 15, really 14 sales floors, and there were others.
Welcome to Senior Break. I am Marie May from Addison Township Senior Center. Dawn Medici will not be with us today, and filling in for her is going to be Dan Sullivan from Parks. He's the Parks and Rec Superintendent for Oxford. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you, Marie.
On this cold, snowy day. Thank you for coming out.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
First, could you give us a little background about yourself?
Absolutely.
What you do, and I don't know what a Parks and Rec person does.
Okay.
It has a big job to take care of everything.
Yes. My particular role within the organization is I oversee the youth and adult athletics, and I've been recently promoted to the position of recreation superintendent. So I will now oversee the farmers market as well as some of the staff in the office.
Okay, the farmers market, was new last year, right?
Correct.
And how's that doing?
It's doing well. We are in the process of looking for a new market manager. Tim, the gentleman who did it for us last year, did a great job, but is unable to continue. So currently we are looking, we've posted the position, we've been reaching out. So if anybody is interested, we are looking for a manager for the farmers market. Hoping we'll be doing interviews soon, so that way we can get going and get the new person on board.
I know this is not the right season, but what all did they sell? Was it all fruits and vegetables?
It was a variance of things. We did have a farmer out there who would bring in fruits and vegetables. We had honey, eggs. Different organizations would come out. They had cotton candy. Basically, we really concentrated on the goods right now, like produce and that kind of thing. There's a possibility of us expanding in the future to do a craft type day as well as a food type day.
Wow.
So right now, we're always looking for vendors. So if you have something that you would like to sell and you want to give us a call, we can get you hooked up with information and go from there.
So do they use that at all in the wintertime?
Not so much in the winter because it is an open pavilion, so it really isn't that compatible. We do use it sometime during the week in the summer. Some of our fitness classes will go outside when the weather's nice, and they can use it in there. So we're looking at ways that we can expand the usage during the week because the farmers market right now is only on Saturdays.
Okay, and then I know the tennis courts are out there, so is that part of what you oversee?
It is, but we don't have any tennis programs, so Dawn handles our pickleball program, which is really a majority of usage of those courts.
Okay, so what else is under your umbrella?
I do mostly the youth athletics, which is going to be soccer, softball, basketball. I do also we have several sort of travel clubs. So I have a soccer club, a volleyball club, a softball club, basketball club, and then on the adult side, we've got adult basketball, adult volleyball. So we just anything basically that's pretty much sports related. We have a senior softball team that plays out of our park. So
what age is it for the youth?
Most of our programs, so we have what's called our Pee Wee programs, which is like kitty kickers for soccer, Pee Wee sports. Those are all 3 to 5 year olds. And then once you get into kindergarten, we start having organized league sports for soccer, softball, basketball. We do several sports camps in the summer. We work with the high school coaches that offer camps in the summer, like 1 week sports camps.
Is this for Oxford residents, or if you belong to the Oxford school system?
We're open to anybody that wants to join. Obviously, most of our residents are Oxford or Oxford schools. There is a non-resident fee versus a resident fee, so it's just an extra $10. But anybody from any area can come out and join any one of our programs.
And this is all organized, right?
Yes.
So if they were to come and they really just have to join, and then somebody.
Correct. So we have different seasons. Like right now, we are taking registration for our spring soccer and spring softball. The big thing I like the people to know is registration is always the season ahead. So even though you're not thinking about spring and summer sports right now, this is now when we're doing our registration. That gives me time to put it together so that when the spring comes, we actually can start right away.
Yeah.
So it's the biggest thing is people who miss out because they're not thinking about
Ahead of
particular sports at that time.
But see, we want them to think that's the warm weather.
Yes.
So we
yes.
want them to
And
think ahead of the warm weather.
There's a lot that goes into putting leagues and teams and things together, so it does take a little bit. So that's why
Oh, yeah.
we give people plenty of time to register.
So you must have a lot of people working for you, under you?
Not
with
so
you?
much. I mean, as far as like I do all the organization myself, but then we do have some young staff and some people that like will supervise for me, referee, officiate, umpire. So we use some of the local high school kids from that aspect, and then some of my supervisors as well. Like right now, I've got boys basketball going on. I've got a young man who goes there, makes sure the gym's set up for me, takes care of things, so that I don't have to be there every single night.
So where is the gym?
We use the schools for all of our indoor programs. So depending,
school?
No, we use the middle school. I play basketball. OES is my volleyball gym. We have practices in basketball at Lakeville, Clear Lake, DA. So we're in the gym almost every single night of the
Okay.
week at the schools
That's extra
for
use
all of our
those
programs. It is.
gyms. That's
And
good.
we're very fortunate to have a phenomenal relationship with the schools that allow
Yes.
us to do that.
Yes, that's
Because
good.
we don't have any other indoor facilities.
Yeah, that's good. I'm
So-
Addison Township, and we are Oxford schools.
Yes.
So that's good to know.
Yes. Yes. Leonard, unfortunately, is not used a ton only because
The school.
it's the school itself
Yeah.
and
It's little.
proximity to
Yeah.
getting there. It's
Yeah. It's
you
in
know,
Leonard.
Yes.
It's in Leonard, and Oxford's so much bigger.
Yes.
Yes, that's really good. That's really good to know. And so, is there somebody that besides you that would be in charge of each group, or what do they do if they want to? They just call you if they want to enlist for.
So
the
basically,
summer?
yeah. So the registration is open. We'll use soccer as an example. We have registration going on right now. So once March 8th comes and our registration deadline, I will see how many kids we have signed up. I will see because we do use volunteer parent coaches. So I will see who's already, who wants to coach, and then I'll organize teams.
So you always need volunteers.
always need volunteers.
He always needs volunteers, parents.
Organize teams based on friend request to a point, and then if you don't have somebody you want to play with, I try to put you on a team with other kids from your school, so that way you at least have somebody you might recognize. And then figure out how many coaches I need. If I don't have enough, then I start
Big
sending out
job.
sending out emails to parents saying, "Hey, I need someone to coach."
There's a lot more behind the scenes than people
I
realize.
always tell people that what we do is not rocket science, but it's more than just rolling some balls out there. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of
There's a lot.
reason why I have deadlines and things need to be done in time, and order uniforms and equipment and make sure. So then I'll put together all the equipment bags, and all the coaches by minders will have a coach meeting. They'll in turn get a hold of their players and say, "Hey, I'm your coach." And then I just basically, once the season's up and going, we go into what was called fireman mode, where you're just putting out fires, you're just dealing
Yeah,
with
yeah,
things
yeah.
as they come up. But I'll continue, once this is done, our brochure will go out in April, and I'll already start working on fall sports.
And can you run through the sports again so that people out there know?
Sure.
Start thinking about it and get ready.
Sure. We, right now, we have registration open for spring soccer and girls softball. In the fall, we will do a fall soccer and girls basketball. In the winter, we do a volleyball program as well as our boys basketball. And then that's all on the recreational side. If you're looking at the club, which is more of the travel-based stuff, those deadlines are a little bit different, and you can always reach out to me because they're all varying. We'll actually do tryouts for our travel softball in late July,
Okay.
even though they'll practice in the fall, winter, spring, even though their season isn't until June, we'll still do tryouts 10 months ahead of time so that they'll play all stuff around.
So much.
So
Well,
is.
it's all very interesting, and we have to take a little break.
Okay.
So we will be right back.
Your password isn't secure. There's nothing that a hacker loves more. But there's an easy thing you can do to prove the logger in is you. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong authenticate. Use Use your fingerprint, your face, or a code. At home or work or on the road. 2 steps are safer than 1 or 3 or 4. And keeping data safe is so much fun. Authenticate, strong, authenticate. Make your logins extra safe. Protect your identity from tragic fate. Authenticate, strong, authenticate.
Welcome back to Senior Break. Today, taking Don Medici's place is Dan Sullivan, and he has a special guest today. Dan?
Well, thank you very much, Marie. We are fortunate to have Curtis Wright, who is the clerk for Oxford Township today. He's going to talk a little bit about what he does, but really focus on the upcoming elections, as we have at least 3 coming up this year. So we want to make sure everybody is informed and where to go and what to do. So let me welcome Curtis Wright. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Just real quick, real brief. What exactly? I know you oversee elections, but what do you do besides? What does the clerk do besides that particular very, very important role?
Yeah, clerk is an elected position, so it's on the Township Board of Trustees, and basically it's record-keeping responsibilities that entail accounts payable, cemetery management, elections, of course, financial statements, ordinances, resolutions.
Oh, there's a lot.
Water and sewer billing. Well, not the water. We do the sewer billing.
Okay.
But you know, in a nutshell, that's pretty much the overview. It serves as secretary of the township board, of course, but we do have a recording secretary that takes care of those roles. But for the most part, you're looking at any financial or any documents that come through the township goes through the clerk's office, either for referral, filing it, retaining it, or tossing it. So it's a labor intense, plus it's a lot of documents that
Lot
are
of work.
required. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty intense.
And again, you mentioned elections, which I can only assume this time of year you guys are swamped with all of the stuff that you have going on. And so if you
We
can
are.
take a couple minutes and just tell us
Sure.
about the election process and what people might need to know.
Yeah. So just to start out with, there'll be 3 elections in 2024. There's going to be a presidential primary on February 27th, and that's the first one. There's going to be one on August 6th, which is the primary election, and then one on November 5th, which is the general election. So going back to the presidential primary, that's going to be on the 27th, which incidentally is 40 days from today. Okay, so and one thing too is that Proposal 2022-2 that was passed by the voters in that year allowed a lot of changes in the election law. So one of those big changes was a 9-day early voting process. So what we've done with compliments of Oakland County, they've allowed us to do a regional site to do early voting, and that site is in Orion Township. So we're
And I think that people like me don't realize how much work is involved in the election. Sometimes they think they just fill out the ballot, turn it in, and there's a lot of work behind the scenes.
yeah, and something that is created a lot of attention that we need to focus on in the office. I mean, we're working now upwards of 12 hours a day trying to get this going, to get the ballots out, get them returned, get them categorized in, and get those in there. So you're right. You know, the voter wants the ballot, votes the ballot, looks for the results.
Yes.
You know,
They don't realize everything that's
inside.
going on.
Yeah,
behind
exactly
the
right.
scenes. Yes.
But that's the ability for somebody that wants to vote early. That's the option. So we're grateful that Oakland County allowed that to happen, because personally I don't have a site to be open for 9 days in Oxford Township to allow that option there. Also, what's happened is we had to have another ballot box, and that officially opened today. That's at the Village of Oxford. So anybody that wants to drop their absent voter ballot into that ballot container, we'll pick those up on a daily basis and put those in to be counted into the system. Another thing is that now if you want to vote absent voter ballot in all future elections, all you need to do is fill out a form and you'll get a ballot for every election going forward. You don't have to fill out an application anymore.
Okay.
And you'll be sent a ballot automatically.
So when I put my ballot in the box, what happens from there? You pick it up, and then it goes to...
Okay, when we send you a ballot and you fill it out, return it, you seal it up, of course. You have to sign the outside of it. Make sure you have a signature on it so we can check the signature on the ballot when it gets returned. And then once that's returned, we check it into what's called a qualified voter file, and that file holds all registered voters in the state of Michigan. So we have the ability to look up all voters that are registered, they're active, if they're actually in Oxford, if they're living in another jurisdiction, and that confirms they don't get 2 ballots, because the system will pick it up. We issue it, we check it in, we store it until the Epsom Board of Counting Board on election day actually tabulates those ballots.
Okay, wow.
Now, the one question I did have, you said that the Orion is going to be hosting that, and that would be available for everybody, like even myself as an Oxford resident, I'd have to go to that Orion
Yes.
place to if I wanted to vote on that particular proposal that's on the ballot.
Yes, and I brought with what every voter in Oxford is going to see, if I have it with me. I guess I didn't bring it. But anyway, here it is. Every voter in Oxford is going to get a postcard indicating if you choose to want to vote early, here are your voting sites: Orion Township Municipal Building or the early voting site in Waterford Oaks Center for Oakland County. So there's 2 options to actually, if that's your desire to want to have to vote early or
And they get
convenience for
this
you,
in the mail?
it's going to
Okay.
be sent out, to my understanding, to all registered voters. I'll
Okay.
probably get one, and you should get one in your community
Yes.
as well. So there's no excuse for not voting.
And the early everything that'll be on the regular ballot will be on the early voting ballot? Or is this just for the proposals or just for the?
Yes, when you go to early vote, those ballots will be available at that voting site. And you'll have the Oxford ballots, the Orion ballots, Addison ballots. So you'll register, fill an application to vote, and then the poll workers will check you in.
Now, this is not, this is saying that you can vote and mail it. It's not going in to vote early. It's to mail it in,
No, this is actually vote.
to go into
Your
it.
your vote is,
Okay,
your
we
your
cleared
ballot is
that.
tabulated. It's secured at the voting site.
So you
and
can
when-
go to the voting site ahead of the day
Correct.
and vote, okay.
Similar
So we
to,
make that clear.
yeah, similar to absent voter.
Yeah.
You're doing it ahead of
Okay.
the actual voting date. You just submitted it basically in person or by mail.
Okay,
back to
just
your
want to kind of clear that
municipality.
up. That's a
Yeah.
great thing.
And just one last thing on Proposal 2022, the return postage is prepaid by the state of Michigan.
Okay.
So you're going to get your ballot, it should have a prepaid postage on it, so you don't have to put a stamp on it.
Oh, that's good too.
So with that in mind there, that's just an overview on the 2027 or 2024 presidential primary election.
So the one thing I also want to say, Curtis, is you touched on it a little bit, but I know I've received my ballot selection form. That can be either mailed or dropped off, or does that have to be dropped off back at the?
It can be
Okay.
mailed. I brought a couple of those samples. So if you received a form requesting to want to have a permanent ballot going forward on that, you're going to see one of these forms. This one, I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you've already made your selection. All you need to do is decide what ballot you want for the presidential primary. If you're on the permanent absent voter list but have not decided you want to have a permanent ballot, you're going to get an application like this, and you're going to fill that out, and you got a box you can check if you want to have a permanent ballot going forward. So there is the option. One other thing is that with the presidential primary, you have to select if you want a Republican, a Democrat, or a no party ballot at all. So, and the reason that happens, it's a primary election, so you're trying to narrow down the field down to one candidate that goes to the November ballot. Somewhat I can maybe paraphrase that for simplicity is that imagine yourself going to a party. They're going to give you a ticket and you got 2 parties you can go to. Which party do you want to go to? And that party you select is where you're going to receive that ballot.
But this is all very, very interesting, and we're time for a break. So we're going to go on a break, and we will be back with Mr. Curtis again. Thank you.
One in every 500 African Americans in the U.S. suffers from sickle cell disease. 1 in 3 African American blood donors is a match for patients with sickle cell. One appointment to donate blood with the American Red Cross can help save a life. Will you be that one? Visit redcrossblood.org/ourblood today to schedule an appointment at a location near you.
Welcome back to Senior Break. We've been speaking with Mr. Curtis Wright about the election coming up, and Dan's going to take it from here with some questions.
Yeah, so Curtis, one of the things that you were talking to us earlier about is the redistricting of the area. Can you go over that, please, for us?
Yeah, with the work of my assistant deputy clerk, Susan McCullough, we actually redistricted in, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, Precinct 5 now encompasses the whole south borderline of Oxford Township and Orion Township. And before, what that was is Precinct 5 only encompassed like the north or the southeast corner of the township. So what we did, in order to encompass all the Orion School District, we copied their boundary lines and now made Precinct 5 all Orion School District. So what that does for us is that now we only have to issue one ballot, not two different ballot styles as we call it. So we know that you're totally in an Orion School District, so if there's an Orion school or Orion issue on the ballot, then that ballot only goes there. So what that did is these precincts here, 3, 4, and 6, were shrunk from the borderline up to where they are now. So they're all brand new districts in there. We sent out new voter ID cards to the individuals that were affected in there.
Which one is Addison?
Addison is over here.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So Addison's over here.
Okay.
So you did not get affected
Okay.
on that. But I just wanted to bring that up so voters may be aware they may have a different polling place now than they went to before in there. So just check your voter ID card. If you have any questions, feel free to call the township office on that. So with that also, I want to just run into, if anybody's interested in running for office in the Oxford Township / Village chairs or boards, councils on that stuff. So with that, if you're interested in running for office, number one, you'll have to provide a petition. We have nominating petitions in the office. They'll look like this, like that. So you'll need to get signatures on your petition. For the most part, in the township, it's a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 50 signatures that are valid or registered voters in Oxford. And the deadline for that is April 23rd at 4 o'clock. So there's time if anybody's interested.
Is that something that happens every year? At this time of the...
It's every 4 years with the exception of the village because they have staggered terms
Okay.
on that. So with this here, virtually all offices are open for election this year. Township Board, which has a supervisor, clerk, treasurer, 4 trustees.
Okay.
The Parks and Recreation Commission.
Because it's there 4 years.
4-year terms.
Okay.
The Library Board and the School Board, and there's some openings in the village as well.
Okay.
So if that's something somebody's interested in, they can pick these up at the township office, and we'll give you a packet to do that.
Okay.
So also just want to touch on the August 6th and November 5th elections. Those are upcoming. The August 6th is a primary election. With that ballot, you cannot split your ticket. It's a primary again, so you're either going to vote one party or the other. That's on the partisan or the party preference run, the races on that. We're expected to have a police millage renewal on that. And then on the November 5th ballot, we're going to have, that's a general election where the ballot is wide open. It's probably going to be pretty lengthy right now. There's some proposals in the state going for some proposals right now to see if those are going to be allowed to be on the ballot. But locally, we're looking at a fire millage renewal. We're looking at a potential safety path millage. And then also we're planning to put a question to the voters whether they want a single waste hauler, because that's been in the topic for going over a year now, for bringing it into the village.
What was that, a single?
Single waste hauler, one garbage
Okay.
company per se to pick up your trash. Because right now we have 3, 4 different companies that are doing it around the township. So that's that. Just the last thing I want, and then I'll open it up for questions, is that if anybody's interested in working the election, we do have applications in the office for that. And what that is, you would be selected to work in a voting precinct on election day. It's a long day. You start at 6, you end at 8 or later, depending on how your precinct balances out, all the balance with the books and all that. But it is a paid position. You know, you can be a worker. If you have experience, you can be entertained for the chairperson, and also electronic poll book, which is the computer on that. So a lot of opportunities here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to call my office. It's on the website. Susan, Kelly, they're tremendous workers. They keep things running very efficiently, and they're working diligently as we speak.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to work the election. You learn a lot. I do work it, and I work for Pauline Bennett
Do you? Okay.
for Addison Township, and it's really interesting to see how everything is run just exactly right. And you learn a lot.
You do.
You learn a lot, and you see a lot that, you know.
It's just that with the changes in election law, as we iterated to earlier, it's just been a whole change. It's somewhat of like riding a bicycle again, learning to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just an amazing amount of changes in the rules and regulations you have to go through. As an example right now is that if you've returned one of these and didn't make a selection or didn't sign it on that, we have to either personally call you, email you, or send you a letter to say there's a problem with your ballot. That wasn't there before, but that's time consuming too now.
Sure, and if they mail it, that could happen easy, because if
We
you bring
have-
it into the township, people check it.
And we have a stack right now of problems.
Oh,
You know,
I
checked
don't-
twice, didn't check at all, didn't sign. You know, just the gamut of situations of people just not paying attention.
I definitely don't envy you at this time of the year, because I'm sure it is
Yeah.
very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, one question I did have, and hopefully you can speak to some of this, is when you go to vote, what type of identification do you need? What is acceptable to be able to vote?
For the most part, and this is going to apply to a lot of voters, your driver's license is basically your main source of identification. If you've got a voter ID card, a student ID, something that has pictorial identification on it. Now, if you don't have that, there's on the back of your affidavit to vote, your application to vote, you can actually sign off, say I hereby swear that I'm not in possession of a voter ID. False statement indicates misdemeanor. So you are pledging that you're telling the truth on what you're doing. So. But there's several of ID requirements that pretty much you're not going to be denied getting a ballot if you're showing a valid ID.
Excellent. You had talked about the long hours for the poll workers. Is that what times are the polls actually open?
All right, on election day, the polls will open at 7 a.m. and they will close at 8 p.m.
Now, am I understanding this correct? If you are in line, you will get to vote, or is it a hard 8 o'clock, you shut and lock the door?
Well, what will happen is we will have one of the inspectors go out and see, at the 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then they'll maybe stand at the last voter at
Okay,
the
so
time that 8 o'clock
Clock.
is determined, and then deal with the people that
So as long as you're in line, you
you'll
should be
issued
able
a
to get to
ballot.
vote. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, and that's something too. With the options now to vote, there's really no reason that you need to be
Yes.
running to get to the polls at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
This has been very interesting. I
Yes.
don't know, do you have another question?
No,
Just so
I'm
we're
all
down
set. I
to-
just wanted to just thank Curtis for his time. And again, anybody, if you have questions, I encourage you to call 248-628-9787 is the township office. They'll be able to answer all of your questions,
And did you
especially
have
if it's
anything-
redistricting.
Anything you wanted to say before we?
You know what?
vote.
There's a lot more we could have went over, but we held it short and brief, so it's hopefully understandable to the voting public. And if there's anything more technical that you need to know or want to know, my office is available. I have very knowledgeable people that assist me and make my day a lot better than what it otherwise would be. But my extension is 108-628-9787, extension 108. If you want to
Okay.
talk directly to me, set up an appointment, come in. But our time is limited now because of how busy we are.
Okay, well, we hope that this kind of cleared up some of the questions that have been asked. And have a good day, stay warm, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.